Want to be sure you're getting the most out of your retirement for all the years of your retirement? That's the primary goal of More Living with Jim Brogan and our Dollars and Cents segment, where we provide you with an important financial tip that will help positively impact the quality of your life in retirement. And now here's Jim with this week's Dollars and Cents tip.
My tip for this week is don't let emotion drive your investment decisions. We have to be very careful here. You know, stocks have been on a nice little tear here since the summer. And when we look at inflows and outflows, in other words, what are people doing in America in terms of how they're investing their money? Are they putting money into the market? Are they taking money out of the market? According to Investment News, in the first 4 weeks of the year, an eye-popping $38.1 billion flowed into equity mutual funds. That's a net inflow of $38.1 billion. Now compare that with last year when cash moved out of equity mutual funds. Investors pulled money out of funds every single month in 2012. There was a net outflow in equity funds, and it reached a crescendo in December with a little over $30 billion that flowed out of mutual funds according to ICI data. So $30 billion just in December flowed out, then $38 billion went back in January. I think the outflow, particularly in December, was fears over the fiscal cliff. But every month for the year last year, we had outflows from equity mutual funds. And according to the research firm Strategic Insight, investors yanked more than $100 billion out of stock mutual funds overall last year. And that's just 2012. Equity mutual funds have endured net outflows every year since 2008. So now think about this. That's every year beginning in 2009. 2009, 2010, and 2012, the market was up a decent amount. Now, 2011, the market was essentially flat, maybe up just a little, but basically flat if you measure with the Dow Jones and the S&P 500. So we've got 3 of the last 4 years, though, that the market was up, yet we have net outflows out of equity mutual funds. Now we're in 2013. The market is at its high point that it's been since the fall of 2007. And now all of a sudden it looks like we're going to have a lot more inflows, people kind of jumping back in. So think about that. Human emotion, we sell when it's high, we sell low and we buy high. We buy when things are good. Everything's hunky-dory. The market's up at a relative high, well over the high for the last 5 years. Then when things get tough, market bottom in March of 2009, we sell. So when we let emotion drive the equation, we trip over ourselves. We buy high and we sell low instead of buying low and selling high. So how do you get emotion out of the equation? And I think the key is number one, build a plan around how much volatility are you willing to endure? Those are the types of conversations you should be having, either with yourself, your loved one. If you're working with an advisor, you should be having those conversations. How much volatility on the downside are you willing to endure next time we have a bear market? Because we will eventually have a bear market. And then build your portfolio around that answer and construct it in a way that you minimize that downside risk to the level that you're willing to. Now, it is about risk versus reward, so you've got to be having those conversations. Because if you eliminate some of that downside risk, you're probably going to have to give up some of the upside reward potential, at least to some degree. But you've got to be having those conversations. Then, when we have market turmoil and volatility, you can maintain discipline and not let emotion get in the way, because emotion is one of the top enemies of successful market investing.
And that's our Dollars and Cents segment for this week. You can find this week's Dollars and Cents segment and others by visiting BroganFinancial.com.